Dr. Oje, I don't know how much you agree with AIG Abutu Yaru, but what's your experience from your time at Prescom?
Thank you very much. I think that if we take a holistic look at arms proliferation in Nigeria, the consequences and all of that, the big question is, how did we get here? And that question of how did we get here will lead us to the root causes. Why do people take up arms? Anytime I have an opportunity of discussing this kind of problem, I look at it from the demand and supply side. We're looking at the demand side. Who needs these arms and why? Whether it's government agencies or whether it's non-state actors, why do they need these arms? That's a critical question to answer if you really want to tackle the problem. Now, we'll now look at the supply side. Who supplies these weapons? How does it come into the country and why? Let me go back to demand factor. The demand factor is such that people need these arms. Like the AIG said, to protect themselves. People who feel that government agencies are not protecting them enough, or government agencies are not doing enough to protect them, they seek for self-help. In doing that, they resort to small arms and light weapons. And then there are criminal elements in our midst who want to use these arms to perpetuate whatever activities they are doing. My former boss used to say something: if these people that kidnap and do all sorts of things like oil pipeline vandalization and all that, if without the arms they have, we can confront them on the streets and beat the hell out of them. But once they have these arms, it emboldens them to do
the fear factor.
Yeah, the fear factor to do whatever they want to do. So they acquire this weapon on the demand side to be able to perpetuate their evil acts, kidnapping, criminal activities, oil pipeline vandalization, making some politicians will tell you, I'll make governance unbearable for you. And you see, how do they achieve that? Because they have access to importing small arms and light weapons. These weapons we were talking about in Port Harcourt the other day was not ordered by government. It was individuals who imported them into the country. Why? So these are the reasons why we have small arms proliferation. Some people need it for their nefarious activities. Cross-border criminality, globalization of criminality, like he said. Now, when people want to import drug dealers, human traffickers, all of these give rise to acquisition of illicit small arms and light weapons. And then we come to the supply side. Who brings in this weapon and why? Now, you look at the critical aspect of unmanned borders. Our borders are porous, yes, we know, but people are taking advantage of it. It's not necessarily about the border being open. It's about people who have ulterior motives, who want to bring in these weapons. They will always find a way to bring it in. The last one we're talking about came in as part of furniture and part of equipment. Some people bring it as part of spare parts. So it's not really about our open borders. It's about the need. Who needs it and who is bringing it in?
But are you then saying that the criminals will always be smarter than security agencies?
They're always
because the idea is, if you are looking for ways to bring it in, then the security agencies should find a way to outsmart you.
Yes, but these guys think ahead. These guys think ahead. There's no doubt that they think ahead. There's no doubt that they always want to remain ahead of these security agencies, because they know that our security agencies, some of our institutions, are very weak. Like the IAG said, like he was saying about 1,400 border posts. But from my own perspective as former Prescom province manager, we know that we have over 1,500 kilometers open borders in northern Nigeria alone. And like we used to say, if all our security agencies are holding their hands together, they can knock over the space we call Nigeria. So you see that we have deficiency in numbers, we have deficiency in capacity and all that. So that is what these criminal elements are taking advantage of. And you cannot take it away from criminal elements all over the world. They always try to stay ahead of security agents. Otherwise, they can perpetuate their acts.
So what you're saying now right now is that most times our security agency are just reactive instead of being proactive.
Definitely, they're always reactive. And then I tell you something. I overheard you talking about leakages from our armories.
Yeah,
it's a prominent factor that the government need to tackle urgently, because contending with the ones that are coming in illicitly is dangerous enough, and then we see people having leakages from the one stockpile that is in government custody. This is a very dangerous trend. And then I want to also say that for us to be able to tackle the challenges of small arms and light weapons, there is something critical that government must do, and that is to address some of the root causes, from unemployment to youth restiveness to religious extremism to ethnic imbalances to perceived and maybe real, in some instances, marginalization and things that people complain about generally.
Okay.
These are things that if you need to tackle the issue of small arms and light weapons, you must tackle it. And then issues of electoral system and our system of government, how we elect people into offices. When a politician can open up his mouth boldly to say, I will make this state ungovernable for you, it's either I win or they lose. That's the philosophy they have. Either I win or they lose. So when they begin to have that kind of mindset, and of course they know that the system is not strong enough to prosecute them. Like we are talking of 20,000 naira fine. And let me also tell you that that Firearms Act is very, very old. That it was made in 1959. What we have today is the Nigerian Firearms Act of 1959.
So there is need for a review.
There's need for a review.
Okay.